This video is brought to you by Artistworks. Artistworks are part of TrueFire Studios, and they offer direct access to master musicians through their innovative online learning platform. Partnering with iconic musicians, they've crafted decades of industry experience into guided paths of online learning. Crucially, there's an option to get personalized feedback tailored specifically to your playing via their unique video exchange. Get direct guidance towards your playing goals. You can use the code GNC40 for 40% off of any of Artistworks courses. obvious reasons, folks often compare Sires and Epiphones. Now, this is the most recent Epiphone I've actually tried. I bought this one. It's arrived today. There's a little bit of damage on it, which means it's going to have to go back, but the guitar itself is playing fine, so I thought I'd do this comparison whilst I've still got it. Of course, these are obviously different pickup models, so there's not really too much comparison that we could do tone-wise, but I can do some kind of general chat about the build quality, I think, that how they play, and hopefully help to give you some sort of unbiased choice, you know, on which you should pick, because I don't really have too much of an affiliation with either party, and I'm certainly not interested in these guitars enough to lie about it. So first of all, I've got plenty of experience of playing plenty of Sire guitars. They've sent me some, I've bought a bunch, and I think what's most obvious to me about these guitars is like the quality of the paintwork is quite different. So if you see the burst on the Sire, that's kind of, I don't know, that to me looks like someone's first go at a burst, kind of. Versus the Epiphone, which I think the finishing of the paint and stuff is really pretty fantastic. And you don't see imperfections on these, like around the binding too much. The F-holes could be slightly tidier, but in general, that to me is a very classy looking guitar. The Sire, not so much, and you sort of see, you know, around the neck join there'll be like little bits of sloppiness, and you might see kind of marks and stuff like that. You know, it's not an easy job to bind a 335 as far as I know, and this is triple binding. So anyway, that's one thing. I think if you look up close, you'll probably find that the paintwork on the Epiphone is where it kind of excels. The place where the Sire, I think, excels is the fretwork and the playability. So the fretwork of the Epiphone, I'll try and show you some close-ups, but they might not be the most demonstrative. It's a little bit kind of unpolished, and certainly at the fret edges are where you can kind of tell the difference, I think. So some of the more expensive guitars that I've played, they tend to round these things off, or, you know, pay more attention to them, so that when you're running your fingers and hands along them, you don't feel these edges so much. That's exactly the kind of treatment that Sire have given to their necks, and as a result, when you kind of, you know, feel your hand up and down, it feels, you know, really nice under the hand. They roll the fretboard edges as well, so you get a really quality feeling neck, and that does make a difference. The fret wire on the Sire is larger as well, so that certainly helps with the playability of it. The nuts on the Sires, I've found, tend to be cut quite high. I'm not sure why they do it that way, but it does look a bit odd compared to some of my more expensive guitars, for example. But it seems to hold pretty well. But yeah, that's generally what I found, is that the imperfections with the Sire will probably be cosmetic, whereas the imperfections with the Epiphone are kind of at the business end, where maybe that's where you might want more attention paid, right? Of course, you could get a tech to look at them, and that would probably get you most of the way there. And certainly there's nothing that the Sire thing is doing that is completely impossible to achieve on any other guitar. Both of their fretboards look a little bit on the dry side, so I'll probably put some treatment on the Sire. But yeah, I think that about covers most of the things that you'd want to know. This weighs about 8 pounds. I'm just going to go and weigh this one now, and I'll flash that up on the screen. But yeah, minor cosmetic imperfections on the Sire, unless you get something where you've got real issues, which people do occasionally leave comments and let me know that their Sires needed attention. So if you're one of those people, let me know in the comments, and hopefully other folks can benefit from you sharing your experience. Yeah, the veneer used on this for the flame, I think, definitely tops the Sire. I think cosmetically, you go with the Epiphone, right? Playability-wise, maybe you go with the Sire, and tone-wise, I doubt there's too much in it, to be honest with you. Unplugged, I think there's a bit more of a jangle to the Epiphone. But yeah, it seems to me that what you see on YouTube a fair amount of is, that you need to check out these Sires before you check out the Epiphones. And I'd say that maybe, yeah, definitely give the Sire a thought if you're in the Epiphone realm, but don't completely disregard the Epiphones, because I do think looks-wise you're getting a lot for your money. And maybe if you took this to a tech, you could get it more to your liking, but smaller frets in general, and they're not rolling the fret edges. And so in general, it does feel like a little bit of a rougher playing experience, I would say. I hope that sort of helps in some way. I'll try and maybe do some more modern Epiphone stuff. I think the nut on this is a graph tech, so it's quite neat, but it seems to be holding the strings a little bit. That's just generally my feel. This guitar feels a little bit drier, a little bit kind of I don't know, you're feeling a bit more fret edgy with it, but it's resonating nicely and the pickups seem clear. So in general, pretty good. I think I'm not disappointed, and not necessarily feeling like it's miles off from the Sire either. So hopefully that's something that you can bear in mind when you're looking at the various reviews and comparisons and stuff like that. The Epiphone does hold its own, I think, generally, especially looks department. Neither of them will come with a hard case or a soft case, so you need to factor that in as well. Get a Tokai instead.